Good afternoon. Welcome to Midcap Radar. I'm Reema Tendulkar. With me is Sonal Bhutra, and these are the top stories at 1:30 p.m. this Thursday afternoon. Midcaps outperform on expiry day, while key indices are off the session highs, even as the Nifty hovers around 18,100.
Nuclear software surges after a very strong quarter. The stock gains over 15%. Management tells CNBC-TV18 price revision is likely in the fourth quarter and the coming year, adding that the board might consider a buyback.
Tanla platform surges as it gets set to launch an anti-phishing platform. The company is in advanced talks with 3 Indian banks to launch a proof of concept. Other mid-cap IT names like LTI Mindtree, KPIT Technologies, Persistence also scale fresh highs.
Indigo Airlines owner Interglobe Aviation sees a large 4% trade in its shares, with promoter Shobha Gangwal likely to be the seller. The promoter stake sale overhang hurts the stock even as an interval of 5 months is needed between sales.
Bullish management commentary gives PI industry a boost. They expect to sustain margins at about 24% and eye a double-digit revenue growth. Brokerages give its M&A focus a thumbs up.
Okay, all right, those are the top headlines that we are tracking on Midcap Radar. For the markets, it has picked up some pace. It did see fall from the highs, but still remains in the green right now. So 80 points higher on the Nifty is what we are seeing right now. Midcaps, they continue to outperform. So 1% higher on that index, and advance decline ratio is comfortably in the favor of advances. Nifty IT, really the big gainer today. So that index is the top gainer. And we have largely most of the sectors in the green today, barring Nifty Media. So looks like it is continuing to be a good day so far. We'll have to see which way things go as far as the global markets are concerned. But Reema, end of earnings season, and today we are seeing some stability in the markets.
Yes, and midcaps are picking up, right? The midcap index has now surged to the high point of the day. The midcap index is up 1%. So even as the frontline indices had come off and now are trying to recover, look at the midcap index. That's only piling on gains even in the last 30 minutes. And now it's a good 280-point gain on the midcap index. Another large cap which catches your attention now is Britannia. Britannia has seen a sudden spike in its stock price. It's currently up about 0.25%, but all those gains from the lows has come through just in the last 30 minutes of trade. Let's invite Sudeep Shah of SBI Securities for a technical check on the markets. Sudeep, afternoon, and thanks so much for joining in. Third consecutive day of strength for our markets, and now we're pretty much holding on to 18,100. Are you convinced of further upside from here on? What would the trade be?
Absolutely. Good afternoon, Reema. Index, see, what has happened is Index yesterday has given a breakout out of a 10-day consolidation, what we witnessed post-budget. And we have managed to cross and sustain above 17,972, which was the budget day high. So now post that positive close yesterday, we have seen a gap up, and today also initially in the first half, we have seen some cool off, but 18,040, 18,050 has held on as a support, and we feel that in the second half and tomorrow we might make a move to 18,200, 18,230, where the next set of resistance will lie in. Now, where we see opportunity right now is the mid-cap space, because what is happening is that although Nifty is 4% away from the mid-cap, from the 200 DMA, but mid-cap index is just 2.5% away from that zone. And there is a lot of scope that is possible that we can see an up move in mid-cap index. So from here on, we feel that along with the index, the mid-cap space would have a larger role to play, and we are seeing some signs of that starting today.
Okay, all right. So mid-caps are doing well. Of course, we can see that as well. Sudeep, what would your individual technical bets be in this case?
The first bet is HAL. Now we are seeing the renewed interest in the defense stocks after in an overall uptrend in the last major part of the year. Like this stock in the last 6 days has witnessed a higher top, higher bottom formation, and it's now trading at its highest level post December. So what we feel is that with the major short to medium term moving averages in positive structure, the stock can be bought with a 2560 stop loss and a 2700 target. The next pick would be LTI Mindtree. Now, this stock has given a breakout of a rounding bottom formation, along with a move in all the major IT names. Now, what we see is that this breakout from the resistance zone, which has been formed by a falling trend line, joining the all-time highs of 75.50, and 5360. The stock has given a breakout, and we feel that the last 4 weeks where the stock has formed a higher top, higher bottom formation gives us a confidence that this uptrend could continue, and this stock can be bought with a stop loss of 4860 and a target of 5150, 5200 on the upside.
Thank you very much, Sudeep, for joining in. Get into a break. On the other side, we'll be joined by Arun Krishnamurthy, MD and CEO at Axis Gates Technology, to talk about their Q3 performance and the way forward. Welcome back. Let's get a corporate conversation going. The company on our radar now is Axis Gates Technology. Well, the top line for Axis Gates looked very good. In fact, this quarter, the company clocked in record revenues. Revenue growth was 10%, but margins came down. Margins declined by more than 500 basis points on a quarter-on-quarter basis. So from 20%, it's now down to 15%. And at the bottom line, this time, there is a loss of 10 crore on account of an exceptional loss of 23.5 crores. Stripped of that, it would have been profitable. In the verticals, aerospace has done very well, but on the flip side, heavy engineering has been a bit muted. Arun Krishnamurthy, the MD and CEO of Axis Gates Technology, is with us on the show now. Mr. Krishnamurthy, more afternoon, and thanks so much for joining in. First, if you could just explain this exceptional loss, is there any chance of you fighting back and getting a reversal, and has the entire amount been written off?
Yeah, firstly, Rima, thank you so much for having me on the show. Good to speak to you as always. Firstly, I'd like to say that it's an excellent set of results because we have grown 26% year on year, 10% quarter on quarter. We are at 213 crore for Q3. Our EBITDA for 9 months is 93.6 crores, which has grown 130%. And that is more than what we did the last financial year. We were at 68 crores. We had mentioned in the Q2 results that, one of our defense businesses, there was an exceptional service billing because of which the margins were high. And the 20% that we had indicated, we said that the normalized EBITDA was at 15%. So the Q3 results are exactly at that level. And this happens in the defense business because in defense you have, projects which are in R&D, projects which are in production. And when you go through the R&D phase, the margins tend to drop. When you go through production, the margins tend to increase. And really the way to read the defense business is year on year rather than quarter on quarter. So from our perspective, it's been absolutely consistent performance. Of course, top line is excellent. And on the margins as well, we are exactly where we were. Like I said, Q2 is more to be read as 15%. And we had mentioned that after the Q2 as well. And the exceptional charge that you refer to, that is for the Mistral acquisition. And that is now done. So we concluded that end of December last quarter. So there's going to be no more charges on the balance sheet as far as Mistral is concerned. So going forward, it will be business as usual.
Okay, all right. So that is on the margin picture and the bottom line as well. Mr. Krishnamurthy, can you speak to us about heavy engineering, which is 20% of your revenues, and that is the only segment which has seen a decline for you, if I can look at it both quarter on quarter and on a YOY basis. You talk about some headwinds here as well. This $5.1 million, that's the quarterly revenue from this segment. Does that stay? Will there be further slowdown that you're expecting in this segment?
So I think there's a couple of reasons why this is less. One is that Q3 is traditionally a slow quarter for all engineering services firms. Some of our clients, they have plant shutdowns which last 15 days in December. So the billing that we do naturally in Q3 is always lesser. Of course, in aerospace, we have such a robust pipeline that, we were able to blow through that. But in heavy engineering, one is that clearly the plant shutdown is the reason why the revenue is less. The second thing I would say is that given all the macroeconomic situation that's going on, if there is one sector out of all the verticals that we are exposed to, heavy engineering is probably a sector which is more, I would say, exposed to some of these trends. And that could be a reason where there could be some softness. Having said that, going forward, we're looking at how we can mitigate this. But clearly, Q3 is because of the plant shutdowns.
So this quarterly run rate that we saw right now, is it something that you'll be able to maintain?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, so at least $5 million of revenues from the heavy engineering vertical on a quarterly basis. Any update on the fundraise? I remember when we had spoken to you previously, you said you were talking to investors to raise 100 to 200 crores to write off your debt and raise some growth capital, and you were hoping to conclude the fundraise soon.
Yes, that's correct. So we are still talking to investors. We already have one or two options on the table. We are, of course, pursuing those conversations, and it is moving in the positive direction. I think just on the debt as well, I need to sort of maybe break it down a little bit for you. If you look at the debt on our books, it's about 250 crores. 50 crores is working capital, and 200 crores was for Mistral. Now, what I must clarify is that as part of the acquisition of Mistral, we had an option to transfer shares, 3.5 million shares at a certain price. And if that had been the case, we had only taken on debt at 125 crores.
Got it.
But we believe in the value of our stock and we decided not to dilute. And therefore, we took on additional 75 crores debt. So what I want to say is that the 200 crores of debt for Mistral is a very conscious decision. And the conversation we are having with investors is very positive on the growth capital front.
You said you have one or two options on the table when it comes to fundraise. What are these options?
I can't talk about that now because we are still in final stages, but very positive conversations. And of course, the parties we are talking to won't want to be named as well. So we'll have to protect their confidentiality.
So this financial year, you'll be able to finalize on fundraise, or this calendar year would be the deadline?
We are hoping to do it as quickly as possible. Let me just put it that way. It's likely to happen this quarter. It could slip into next quarter as well. But we are looking at those kind of timeframes. So we're looking at either Q4 or Q1.
Okay. The conversations in fundraise have been going on for a while, right? It's been a couple of months already since you first flagged it off.
That's correct. But you got to remember that we had Christmas in between New Year. So we had 20 days where there was no movement. Okay. And of course, we're talking to a few investors. So, we are on the road all the time. That takes time. But I'm pretty positive because it's been, I would say, about 2 months. And that's sort of normal, right? I mean, it takes that long to those ones.
So, of course, we'll talk more about it when something is finalized. Last question before we let you go, Mr. Krishnamurthy. The normalized margins you said are at around 15%. But with Mistral acquisitions, what can Q4 look like? Because there the margins are around 20%. So, say 2 to 3 years, quarters down the line, would margins inch up from these levels?
Yeah. So if you look at last year, we were at about 12%, and we have really done a good job, I would say, in taking it up to the 15% level. I think this will remain at this stage for some time to come. Having said that, our endeavor is, and this is our ambition, this is not a guidance, that in the next 3 years, we take it up to about 18%, which is the industry benchmark in terms of best in class for engineering services, not IT. But, it'll be a walk for us to take it from 15 to 18. I think we harvested a lot of quick wins to take it from 12% to 15%. Here onwards, of course, defense business comes at very good margins. But like I said, it depends on what life cycle the project is at. If it is a lot of R&D, that's where we invest. So then the margins are under pressure. But then once production happens, that's when the margins start opening up.
Okay. We'll leave it at that. Thank you very much, Mr. Krishnamurthy, for joining in. That's Axis Gates for you. The stock has been a big mover in the last 1 year. The company is confident about maintaining margins at current levels of 15%, but their aspiration is that in the next 3 years, margins could improve to 18%. So a 300 basis points margin improvement, and they're also very hopeful about a fundraise concluding very soon. Get into a break. We'll come back and put the spotlight on Tejas Networks. That will be our special segment, Midcap Spotlight.
Welcome back. Still tuned into Midcap Radar on CNBC-TV18. While the midcap space in particular is doing well, some of these names which have surged to the day's high, Ambuja Cements is one of them. So, of course, the Adani Group stocks, they continue to be in focus. Ambuja is the one which is higher in trade right now by 1%. We also have NMDC, which should come up for you on the screen. That stock is doing well as well. And something like PFC and SpiceJet as well. All these stocks are doing well. NMDC too at the day's high, sitting with gains of around 1.7%. SpiceJet also is flying away. That stock is higher by 10% in trade as we speak. So, of course, a lot of broader market movers. But let's get you our special segment, Midcap Spotlight. Today, we are focusing on Tejas Networks. Reema, tell us what is driving the stock. Good earnings.
Well, the earnings came out a couple of days back. Yesterday, there was a newspaper article where they said that BSNL has recommended Tejas Networks to deploy 1 lakh network sites, which will help BSNL launch its much-awaited 4G services. The total deal size, according to the report, it's a massive 24,500 crore rupee order. And the report went on to say that BSNL plans to send its recommendation for a purchase order to the DoT for an approval. And after that, DoT will then give it to a group of ministers to seek clearance. That is what has been driving the rally in Tejas Networks yesterday and today. So pull up a one-week chart and you would see over the last 2 days, the stock has surged close to about 18%. In fact, in the conference call, which took place a couple of days ago, the company did indicate, they said, and here I quote, Sanjay Nayak verbatim, "We are L1 in a very large pan-India tender for building a backbone for a 4G and 5G, winning against global MNCs, and we believe this will have a significant revenue potential during the next year. The order we expect to close sometime in this year, and this will possibly be the largest single order for optical networking business for the company till date." So I'm not too sure if it's the same order, but clearly there is a large order in the offing, which the company had alluded to in Q3. Q3 numbers were very subdued. In fact, the company reported a loss of nearly 11 crore. But the positives about Tejas Networks are, one, it's a Tata Group company. The cash on the books is massive at close to about 1,200 crore rupees. And yesterday we were having a chat with Aditya Sood of Incred PMS, where he also, threw some light. He said that look at the big picture. The big picture is that the addressable market for Tejas Networks is only increasing. Ever since the Tata Group took over, the R&D headcount has doubled. And in fact, even in the Q3 conference call, the company said the R&D headcount is up 60% on a year-on-year basis. So the company is investing on R&D, which will help them launch those products, which will help scale up the business over the longer term. But right now, of course, it's that big expected order win from BSNL, which has got the street excited.
7% higher on Tejas Networks. Thank you, Reema, for making sense of what's causing this move. Moving on to another big mover, Nucleus Software reported a strong set of Q3 earnings. The company has clocked revenue growth of nearly 40% on a YOY basis. Earlier today, we spoke to Vishnu R. Dusad, who's the MD and CEO at the company, on their Q3 performance. Listen in to what he had to say on the price revision, cash on books.
Prices at which these were, our intellectual property was sold was, at ultra deep discounting, to use a phrase. And that is what we are going back to our customers, that we may not be able to sustain that ultra deep discounting. And we are grateful to our customers that they are appreciating the value of our intellectual property, and they have agreed to increase the rates of our annual maintenance contract. And that is where this jump has come from. We are talking to all our customers, and a whole lot of them have agreed. A whole lot of them are still in the process of understanding the perspective.
You have a lot of cash in your books. Your market capitalization is around 1,300 crores. What's the cash? I think you have 500 crores of cash, right, in your books?
That's right. That's right.
Would you like to give out a one-time, big, maybe a dividend, or do you have some inorganic growth on your mind? How do you want to utilize this cash?
Yeah, absolutely. Our board keeps looking at these numbers very carefully every quarter, every year, and has been coming out with buybacks. So they will certainly look at this year as well.
With that, we are out of time on Midcap Radar. Thank you for watching Mutual Fund Corner. When we return.
Co-powered by IBM.